Hello LEGO fans, Bricks Unbound here with another Building Hogwarts update. And in today's video I have done a fair amount of reworking basically. So this whole section here, I actually, as mentioned in the last video, did a lot of rebuilding on kind of how the interior works. And also this roof here now is removable. It's still not easily removable, but it can be taken off so you can actually see down into the two spaces underneath it. Additionally, the interior walls here got switched around a little bit, as we'll see in a moment. And I've put in a couple examples of what the bookcases will kind of look like, or at least what I'm going to be shooting for now. But this is, again, the other half of the library is in this section. The half I built first is back there. It is essentially just a mirrored build across, which we can see a little bit better down here from this angle, with this side being a little bit shorter, the newer side being a little bit shorter, just to match the actual model. That tower there in the middle, right now, that section that's sitting there is completely just to figure out sizing and spacing. It is not at all what it's going to look like in the end. I mean, it'll be the same dimensions. It's 24 studs by 24 studs, but as we come around here, you'll see that it's just completely empty right now and put together in a very messy way. But that's the interior space that I'll have to work with inside each level of this tower. So like I said, it's 24 by 24. Each wall, though, is going to be 2 studs wide. So knocking it down a 20 by 20 interior space to mess around with, which should be quite a bit actually to do some good spacing there. Again, that's going to be Ravenclaw Tower, so it'll have Ravenclaw Common Room and then also the dormitories. And who knows what else, because I think this will probably be able to be 4 or 5 floors high, if I consider a floor to be, you know, roughly in between these windows here. Gives us like 8, 9, 10 studs in height, or bricks in height. So should be able to do a decent amount there. I have the astronomy tower back in place for this one, so I'm figuring the, I guess, main structure of it that doesn't include the roof is going to be roughly equal with that balcony there on the astronomy tower, and then it will go up to a point pretty much exactly the same as these bell tower roofs look here. So it should still be shorter than the astronomy tower. Not by a ton, but, you know, probably 8 or 10 bricks at least, which will be a noticeable enough difference. But this section is, of course, removable. It's just attached by a few studs. And it sits on top of this actually pretty sturdy base here. The base itself isn't removable, so as we go through, you'll see like these wall sections here will block a little bit of the view, unfortunately. But the roofs are still removable. They just sit on tiles there. They are not attached by studs at all. This one is attached by a couple of studs up front, just because if I pick it up, it could slide off to the left there. And then, of course, this was the original library section back here. So I got the roofs off. Let's take a look at the interior. So a lot of people in the last video left suggestions and comments, and nobody really said to get rid of the I guess, view point to look down at the floor below there. So that is going to stay there. I still haven't put any kind of railing around it. But a lot of people also thought that a walkway that goes across all the way over to this other hallway would be a good idea to connect those upper 2 hallways. Which I agree with, so I need to figure out exactly how I want to do that. There are a few suggestions to have it split, so there was one walkway over here, one over here, some that the walkway would go out and then it would connect around kind of up where this upper level of the library is, all the way around to then connect over to this side, some that just said one straight down the middle. So still deciding exactly how I want to do that. I'll probably try a few different ones, because it will, I'm imagining it will just rest for now on top of those, so I can at least try a couple of things before I make my final decision. I also changed it so the opening that was here is now over here behind Madam Pence's desk. So through that door is going to be her office. There is absolutely nothing in there right now. Maybe some loose parts from when I was building it, but nothing else in there. But I'll build up some kind of office interior for her now that I can get to it from above. There's just a little seating area over here for now. Apologies for it being a bit dark. It's quite a ways down in there. There'll probably be something similar to that that'll stay there. For the library itself, so I did move this statue, so now it is actually kind of in the center of this little, what I imagine is going to be a little study area around it. So there'd be like chairs up against that so students can have their books laid out and be researching and potentially even asking Madam Pence for assistance on information and finding the books they need. So that'll be there. That right now is not at all a final version of the table or anything. It's just kind of trying to figure out some spacing. And then for the restricted section, which is going to be in this back section, I had a suggestion, and I should have written down who said it, to actually raise up the restricted section, kind of like the high table in the Great Hall is raised up. So I might do that. I kind of like that idea. It'll be a little tricky because over here, where I had the secret hinging wall, as I mentioned in the last video, I have now swapped it for a bookcase, which does hinge open. It can't go very far because it will hit these other bookcases as well as the arch of the wall there, but that is just enough room for, you know, a student or somebody to sneak back behind the bookshelf. And I'm thinking that's going to kind of be a secret way, right, to get into the restricted section, which is this back half here, which is going to have, I'm only going to be able to fit 2 shelves like this back there, unfortunately. But I'm going to extend them back by a couple of studs, which is why you see the space back behind them, between them and the windows. So that should work out pretty well. This shelf here is not at all complete, but I was trying to figure out spacing. So we'll take a look at this, and unfortunately I can't pull it out of the wall here because this one is built in. But there's the general idea of how I'm considering this. So basically what it is it's the 1 by 1 2/3 bricks that have 2 studs on one side that are obviously facing out, so that way you can just stick on these other 1 by 1 pieces to kind of look like the bindings of books there. And I think it gives a nice look, and by putting different plates and things behind it, I can make some of them stick out further than the others, as if the book wasn't pushed in all the way, or maybe the other ones are pushed in too far. So that's the general style I'm imagining going for the rest of the library. I'll probably make some adjustments on height and width and things, because not all the bookshelves are going to be that size. In fact, that might be the only one that ends up being that particular size. So let's see if we can get a look underneath here. So there's a better look kind of at how those are built up. Again, it's very difficult to get camera angles in here, but there's going to be a very long shelf along that wall. I might break it up to look more like, 2 or 3 shelves, but that's the location it's going to be. And then up above there, right now, this is just attached to the top of the bookshelf that's sitting there. It's not actually attached to the wall or anything. So that way I could easily change things around. So this is going to be another bookshelf here. I ran out of parts that I needed for it, so couldn't continue any further. And I'm kind of thinking just one little desk here where a student can sit, and they can also look out the window, so it'd be a pretty nice study area, maybe, that prefects or somebody has access to. And I haven't decided exactly if this is going to be the height of this particular upper walkway, because additionally it's going to need to have some way to attach so students can actually get up to it. Similarly, I'm trying to decide. I think it'd make the most sense to have it continue around all the sides there, so you have a little nice balcony overlooking the library where we can have a bunch more bookshelves and things up above. But again, it's just a very rough sketch at the moment. And then also all these bookshelves down here, I'm planning on doing some rebuilding. The challenge is that, and I think I've thought of a way to maybe make that design down there not be 4 studs wide, by kind of alternating which direction the modified bricks are facing within the shelf. Because right now I like the width of these being only 2 studs wide, and then it's 4 studs wide down at the base, so you can kind of set things there as you're studying, or use it for a little bit of a study space. And then this one in the middle is actually 6 studs wide because it has those little book rests there as well that you can set a book down while you're thumbing through the pages. So I like the width of these. I like the look of the books though on the other version better. So I'll do some kind of merger of the two styles to figure out exactly what the final bookshelf design is going to be. But I think this has been coming along pretty nicely here. So I guess for the next video, the plan is to continue the work on the Ravenclaw Tower in the center here. Probably it'll just be mainly exterior design for the next one, but that's fine. Once I figure out my height and everything, then I can start working on interiors. As I have mentioned before, I'm picturing that it's going to hinge open, like what I did in the Astronomy Tower. You can see it's got these hinges here, so those front sections just swing open. That way you don't have to, remove all of the floors above in order to see down inside it. But that's the plan going forward here, so please let me know what you thought about this update, how you think this is going. If you have any suggestions or thoughts for things to be inside Ravenclaw Tower, let me know that as well. Thank you very much for watching, and please keep coming back for more videos.